Peter Thomas, Fornatale, back with you with another edition of the Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge Diaries. We are getting close, folks, but there's still a lot of opportunities to qualify for the greatest handicapping competition there is, the Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge, $10,000 event happening at Del Mar early November. Still time to punch your tickets. Make sure you check out horseplayers.com for all the various feeders and qualifiers over there, especially our own Thursday Horse Player Happy Hour games sponsored by the Breeders' Cup. And speaking of Horse Players Happy Hour, or speaking of horseplayers.com, I should say, let's start the show by giving props to the folks who won their seats or their partial seats over there last weekend, starting with Terrence Channon, Thomas Labordo, Gary Blair, and Tom Lenberg. Those were the 4 full seat winners, partial entries, $5,000 credit essentially, won by Mike Sylvester and Becky Mulligan. Meanwhile, we had another big contest last weekend. The Woodbine Mile contest attracted 96 entries for that terrific card, 4 grade 1s on that one, and that was won by Mark Odorisio, and former BCBC champ Nissan Gabe came in second. I mentioned there are opportunities coming up. Obviously, check out horseplayers.com to see that schedule, but those aren't the only places that you can punch your ticket to the BCBC. September 21st, twinspires.com have a contest. They've gotten back into the game in a big way with contests over at twinspires.com. You can check that one out. Play races, including, presumably, the Pennsylvania Derby card. September 26th, a Thursday, Canterbury Park, with a big night of racing and a lot of BCBC seats on the line. If history is any guide, you can check that out for Thursday. Then back on the 28th, you got a couple of options, twinspires.com or at it again, but it's also the California Crown Betting Challenge. We're going to be talking a lot about that event. I'm going to be there live at Santa Anita. That's a hybrid where you can play online at an ADW or play in person right there with the San Gabriel Mountains in the background. That might be the more fun of the two options. September 29th, that's Sunday, Santa Anita and ExpressBet have a low ratio BCBC qualifier. You might want to check that one out as well. The place to go, expressbet.com/tournaments to learn more. And with that said, I think it's time to get to our first guest. And here he is now, one of our regular players on the Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge Diaries, Justin Mustari. Justin, how are things?
Everything's going good. Looking forward to hopefully a good end of the year at the BCBC.
It ain't far now, that's for sure. Maybe that's the question I'll start off with. We were talking a little bit to Tyler about how he likes to sharpen up his trip notes and is already in some small ways starting his process for handicapping this year's Breeders' Cup. Is that you as well? Are you doing work? Are you already formulating opinions in your brain about strategies you might use?
You know what? Possibly on the gambling side in the contest scenario, there's some strategies that go through and, hey, remind yourself things you don't want to do in the contest based on last year or things that, hey, you want to lead towards strategy-wise. But when it comes to handicapping, I don't like to get myself into, hey, thinking that I like this horse. I want to wait till the draws come out, see what type of Euros are in the race, and just wait until I get all the information, all the sheets, everything I need. And that week will be just grinding, making sure I get everything in the head ready to roll for the contest.
I'm picturing you really guarding your time once you have those entries that, you typically get those PPs on Tuesday. Is there a do not disturb sign, metaphorically speaking, on the door at that point?
Yeah, that week there's not a ton of work being done. My dad is actually my boss, and he has a lot of work being done that week too. So if any customers are listening, I'm sorry, but don't really try to contact us too much during that week. We got a big week coming up, so that's going to be fun, though.
I want to look forward to other qualifying opportunities that you're looking forward to, but before we do that, let's look back. Any gambling stories from this past weekend?
Yeah, no, I haven't played in a ton of stuff, but I did play in a Twin Spires event. They have a good one, $750. You bet with $500. It was only NHC bids and some cash they were giving out, but I liked the horse who was 13-1. Liked the chalk also in the race. I went all in, boxed the horses, and 13-1 shot wins by 5 or 6. and the chalk ends up running third by a nose to the longest shot in the race, 43-1. I would have cashed for over 5,000 and would have won a seat and some cash. So, but hey, we got the tickle there. So I mean, we're getting close. So
When you look back at that, do you see it as any kind of wagering mistake? Would you have been better off focusing more on that horse to win, or did you need the extra juice that the exacta provide, and or did you just really like the favorite in the spot?
yeah, I thought the 43-1 shot I couldn't have got to anyways. But yeah, I mean, there's different scenarios. Hey, do you like something later on also where now you can play the 13-1 to win? But a lot of these contests I play, I try to make some scores and try to be in the top three or try to win the contest in those bets that I make. So I usually don't even make many win bets on 10-1s throughout the normal day. So I like exactas, and that's kind of the way I'm going to play it.
No, that makes sense. You got to stick to your own, what we call on the shows sometimes, your handicapping personality. Um, I do want to ask you about what you have cooking. What qualifying opportunities are still going to be on your dance card as we get closer to the Breeders' Cup?
Yeah, so there's Canterbury has a couple good contests coming up on ExpressBet. They give away a bunch of BCBCs. I think last year actually I just fell short of a BCBC. I think I was in the fifth or sixth spot and got an NHC seat through that. But I think they have a couple little feeders getting into that. But it's a nice contest. They're going to give away a lot of entries, so I'll be playing that at the end of the month. And then I think they have a bunch of super low ratio Santa Anita stuff in October that leads up probably every weekend, every other weekend. They'll have a lot of opportunities for a BCBC there too.
Absolutely. We just showed that schedule actually before you came on. So it's Thursday, the 26th, is that Canterbury qualifier. So it's kind of interesting to be able to have such big prizes on a Thursday. Love that. Didn't realize about the feeders. So that's great info. I'm sure that's all on the expressbet.com/tournaments website. And the first of those low ratios, I believe, is actually in September. The Sunday, I think it's the Sunday after the California Crown contest, the first one of those is. So again, expressbet.com/tournaments, the place to get all the information on that. What about the Cal Crown itself? Will we see your name on the leaderboard there potentially?
Yeah, there's a potential of that as well. So see how the tournaments go leading up to this, and yeah, there's definitely an opportunity.
Great stuff. Justin Mustari, great catching up with you, and we look forward to speaking with you again soon.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it.
Next up on the show, very happy to bring in the winner of the Woodbine Mile contest from this past weekend. He is a contest veteran, a horse player through and through. He's Mark Odorisio. Mark, how are things?
They're good. And they're always good after a tournament win. So,
Where are you from and where do you live now?
from Omaha,
From
Nebraska.
Omaha.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent, excellent.
hmm
So, do you get to live racing much? You do have you have some racing out there.
Well, I actually work at Fonner during their meets.
Well, there you
Um,
go.
so yeah, so I get to see a lot of live racing when they're running uh, and stuff. But I try to get to with these tournaments. I generally go to Hawthorne at every chance I get when they have a contest. I'm there. I'm a regular there, and we've been going to Lone. We've been driving down to Lone Star, which is about a 10-hour drive for us from Omaha. But we got about three or four guys that'll, we make the trek down there for their Memorial Day contest. And then next, in a couple of weeks, we'll head to Canterbury for their contest. So I try to get out as much. I did make a trip to Del Mar. I was making a trip down to Del Mar last year for their $6,000 contest, and that was my first time at Del Mar. So that was like a bucket list thing for me. So
Very, very cool. Tell me how you won the contest on Saturday at Woodbine. Who was the big horse for you?
I caught two races in the Natalma. I caught the winner of that horse. He paid $35. I had bet 20 to win on him, but I caught a double going into the next race, and that got me close to 2 grand. So after six races, I was sitting at just under 2,600, and I had four of my five uh, plays in. So I had one more race to go, and when I had done all my prep work, I knew I liked the last race, so I just sat back and waited for the last race, and that race was a split race. Their eighth race was also the same condition, so I watched that race and kind of picked up on something there where the winner of that race and the horse that run third, that was like about 40 or 50 to 1, both come out of a turf race. They had both run in a race on August 3rd that was on the synthetic, but then had moved to a turf race on August 23rd. And what ended up happening is the horse that won the last was a $30 winner. Or was he $30 winner? Or was he 30 to 1? I can't even remember now. I used him, and I had bet a $25 box. I used the 2, 5, and 10, and I had bet another $25 box, the 5, 6, and 10, and then I bet a $50 box, the 5 and 10. I thought the 5 and the 10 those were the safe plays in the race, but I figured, especially the 10 horse, I thought he might be lone speed. There was one other speed horse in the race, but I did think he was stretching out to go in a mile and a 16th, and he had 2 races as a 3-year-old running that distance, and he run third both times. So I was a little leery going, he might not be able to get the distance, but I thought the 5 horse was certain to. So I go, he should run either 1 or 2, and just in case the 10 horse didn't do it, I wanted to make sure I had other plays in the race. And luckily, I caught a big long shot, with the 6 horse, and he was one of those horses that he had showed some. His first race this year was on the synthetic, and he ran a solid second. I think he bounced his next time out, but then he ran 2 okay races on the turf his next 2 times out, and one of them he ran fifth in that turf race, where the winner of the 8th race ran fourth. So I go, okay, I think I got a live long shot here,
I love
and
those
he ended up,
angles and your way of thinking about
yeah,
it. Yeah, that's clever.
yeah. Well, and it was I kind of liked him even going into the race, but I go, I think I am on a live horse here with the 6 horse. And I was surprised he was that high of a price. I knew he was going to be a price, but didn't think he was going to be that big. And I caught that exacta for 25, and that got me back about 4 grand. Just under 4 grand, I think it was. 3,700 or something. So that's how I got there.
What's your history in the Breeders' Cup betting challenge?
This is my first time.
Oh, that's
Uh,
exciting.
yeah, so this is a bucket list thing. But I go, I'm not the type of guy that's going to go put in 10 grand for this type of a tournament, because I know you have to treat the tournament like it's monopoly money, and I can't. And I mean, I envy the guys. I've watched your podcast where you talk to the winners. And you got guys that, oh yeah, I had $100,000 and I'm going to bet it all on flight line and stuff, and I'm going, not this guy. I don't have the cojones to do that. But
So what's the plan? Will you play it like a normal day of racing and just hope you crush something and end up in the, it'd be very hard to win doing that, but you could certainly get up into the lower rungs of the prize pool, or because you won the seat, can you get a little mentally wild with it?
Well, it will be a little bit more where I'm not sitting here thinking, oh yeah, this is my money. I know
Right.
I got 7,500, and it's going to be monopoly money, but it's where it'll be tested is let's say you're starting to have a good day and you get to 40, $50,000, which I'm like still trying to fathom that. I go, well, how much am I actually going to start gambling with that? Is that still monopoly money? And I don't, I just wasn't brought up that way. So
Yeah.
I doubt
No,
I'm
I
going
hear
to,
you.
if I, and I've talked to my brothers and some other guys that I hang out with at these contests, and I'm going, could you bet $100,000? They're all like, not me, not me, and I'm kind of in that same boat. I will admit, recently with the Breeders' Cup, I I have not done well betting the Breeders' Cup of late. I was more successful the first 20 years of the contest than I've been the last 20 years. So,
Well, maybe you're due. Maybe you're due, and
well,
it could be your year out there.
I'm kind of hoping. So,
Before I let you get out of here, one more question for you. You mentioned being a fan of the Breeders' Cup for a long time. What's your favorite Breeders' Cup race?
personal ensign. I was there. I was there that year, and that was just a. I thought she was going to get beat. I still can't believe she got up in time, and so that's my personal favorite. I have one where I want to move, and that was before Baffert was Baffert. This was when simulcasting first kind of got started. I had watched a couple of races. I had watched, the whole that summer with Baffert's horses, and he had 30 slews. That was his first Breeders' Cup winner. And I saw his race at Del Mar, and I'm telling my dad, I'm telling my brothers, I go, hey, I got a live long shot in the sprint. If this horse goes, bet 30 slews, bet 30 slews. And so it comes the day of the Breeders' Cup, I bet $500-600 on this horse, but I bet him all in exactas and tries. Didn't bet him in the win in, and ran first, third, and fourth. And I was actually in Tahoe betting, and so my brothers and my dad, they're like going, oh, you got rich, you got this horse come through, and I go, I wasted him, and they're all now going, oh, they're all kind of going, God, we thought you were the smart brother. It turns out you're the idiot. So they still give me crap about that one. So, oh well.
That's a story. That's a
well.
story all horse players at one point or another can relate to. What a great visit. Really enjoyed talking to you. Congrats on the big win. We'll be rooting for you at Del Mar. You going to go out there in person, or you going to play it from online?
I'm pretty sure I'm going to go out. My brother was already going to be out there. They go every year, and so I'm definitely I'm 90% sure I'm going. So
excellent.
And
thank you so much, my friend.
especially after being at Del Mar. After being at Del Mar last year, I really loved it. I'm going, I got to get back. So
yeah, let's do it. I'd love to meet you in person, and thank you for the appearance. We'll be talking soon. Thank you once again to Mark, and thanks also, of course, to Justin, our friends at the Breeders' Cup, especially Justin and Haley, for sponsoring these shows. We'll be back with Horse Players Happy Hour on Thursday and another Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge Diaries next week. Till then, I'm Peter Thomas Fornatale, and I'll see you on the leaderboard.